Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons. Sign up to become a member of the Shannons Club. Kenworth Trucks Australia. Dasmac, shipping your classic car from the world to your doorstep. And the Intershed. G'day, I'm Fletch and welcome as I bring you back to Griffith in New South Wales. How cool is this? A dedicated Holden guy is restoring an XYGT Falcon, and you're about to see a bit of it in this week's Classic Restos on the road. Now, before we start today's episode, we left Deniliquin a couple of days ago and decided to take some outback road up to Griffith. It's only around 3 hours or 2 peanut butter sandwiches and a thermos of coffee from Denny up to Griffith. But instead of going via Hay, cutting across and up is pretty interesting as well. It actually reminded me of the Cobb Highway in places, joining Hay with Wilcannia. One thing about these roads is that you can rarely complain about traffic because there isn't any. And if another vehicle does come your way, you'll always receive a wave as though they know you. The road is good and there's no worries about retaining the state's speed limit. But it's also not uncommon to catch old farmer mate moving his stock along the road as well. The road took us nearby Conago, Steam Plains, then the dirt came along as we went alongside Columbally, Darlington Point and Wilbriggy, then back onto the tar for Hanwood and then Griffith. Now, if you haven't seen Rob before, here's a little bit of a rerun to bring you up to speed before I show you what Rob is up to next. Gee, Rob, pretty special car this one. 1969 HT Holden Monaro, absolutely stunning.
Yeah, Fletch, it's a pride and joy. It was the very first car that a friend and I restored. I was fortunate enough to have a panel beater friend that helped me with the bodywork of the car. But this car here, I bought it from a young chap in Goulburn in 1998. Drove it home, $4,200. Yeah.
You bought that at the right time.
We'd love to have bought more.
Absolutely. Interesting too, because this HT running the 307 Chev. We may have thought that the 307 Chev was all over at the end of HK, but it snuck into the HT.
Yeah, I'm led to believe that Holden was saying at the time they didn't quite get 308s and 253s ready in time. My gut feeling is that they probably had quite a few Chevs left over and thought we've got to do something with them, so ran them out. But yeah, this is a July 1969 HT with 307 two-speed power glide.
1974 L34 Tirana behind us.
These were built in the era when the media were coming down on supercars being sold to the public. So Holden didn't badge them as such as L34s. They just came out as badged as SLR 5000s. But when you look at the compliance plate and the engine number with the HZ, you know you've got the L34.
I don't think there's ever been an era since where badging has just been so prominent and meant something. When we were all a lot younger, we'd see SLR 5000 or 351 High Performance on the badge of an XY. This was powerful badging, wasn't it?
It was, and it was so unusual that, and I mean, we saw where the Phase 4s, they built 4 of them and then they had to get canned because they all panicked about the media with the big scare of the supercars. So then Holden obviously to compete at Bathurst, and these cars were basically built just for Bathurst, really. The whole idea was, you know, win on Sunday, buy one on Monday.
How we get into the joint? Oh. G'day, Rob, it's great to be back.
Great to have you back, Fletch.
Rob, I think it's wonderful to see the lateral thinking. You've got some beautiful Holdens in there that have featured before on Classic Restos. And now you've switched camps because this XYGT came along at the right time.
It did, Fletch. I think I've always had a little thing in the back of the mind for an XYGT, but I basically wanted a project more than I wanted a car. I needed something to do, and I'd had a crack at one in Melbourne that didn't come up. And then when this one come up, I'd seen it on a Monday morning for sale at about 9 o'clock, and by 11 o'clock I owned it.
You gotta love a guy that needs something to do. You look around in here, all I can see is, I'm totally surrounded with stuff to do.
Yeah, well this is a December built 1970 XYGT. It had all the matching numbers, but it was fairly sad and it needed some work, and I thought it and me need to be put together. Fletch, I'd like to just give you a small rundown on some of the work that I've done on this car since it did arrive. I think I've had it about 6 months. So basically when it was arrived here, it was a going car. We drove it here, but it did have its fair share of rust, had lots and lots of surface rust that I had to deal with. The car apparently had been laid up in Western Australia for 30 odd years. So obviously I braced all inside because I had to remove the inner and the outer sills. So that was the first job I did. We suspect this may have had a battery explosion in the engine bay at some point because there was a little bit of corrosion. All these fins along here I had to replace. We had some rust, particularly in the inner plenum here. I had to cut this out and remove it. That little piece was replaced and replaced work underneath. The car was originally ordered from Linus Ford in Perth, and it was ordered with factory air conditioning and a factory sunroof. The floor was really good actually, surprisingly. We didn't have to do much work at all with the floor in the way of rust. One of the other things we discovered was some holes here that something had been screwed, and then when we looked and we saw matching holes on the pillars, we realised that at some point it had a sunshade on it, which thought fairly odd that someone would buy a sports car like a XYGT and want a sunshade, but we're all different, I guess. The shed that's here, I've always been a shed person, I have to say that. I mean, I farmed for a lot of years, so obviously we had sheds for our machinery, and then I had a workshop. But when I bought the block here, before anything happened, this shed went up, and I'm pretty proud of it because I built it myself. So the shed means everything to me. I'm a shed person.
Some people, they just don't get it. They don't get the thrill of spotting a one-of-a-kind. They don't get the joy of a Sunday drive. But at Shannons, we get it because we get what matters to car people. That's why we offer choice of repairer, because we get it's important who works on your vehicle. Driven by passion, backed by experience. Chat to Shannons, Australia's original insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 or jump online. Shannons, share the passion.
And of course, if you own a classic or two, they just have to be insured with Shannons. Perhaps you might be after some laid-up insurance cover. Why not pick up the phone and give Shannons a call for a quote and a chat on 134646. And for more information, visit shannons.com.au. In 2026, why not reward yourself with a classic Restos tour with Fletch, Detroit, Michigan, USA. Detroit, it's the Motown City, the automotive epicenter. Stay in fine accommodation, taking in some of the best museums and private car collections on the planet. Book your exclusive Classic Restos tour with Fletch, Detroit, happening August 2026.
I take my hat off to the guys that have done restoration prior to me taking on the GT. I mean, there's guys out there, you go to car shows and you see these guys that have done restorations, and look, I know the guys that have done it before me are going to look at this and go, oh yeah, I know what he's going through, been there, done that. So this is a bit new to me because I've got to admit that I have been a Holden man all my life, and to most of my mates, Holden friends, disgust now I'm doing this GT. But look, this is new to me, and I hope that guys that possibly thinking of maybe doing something like this and haven't done it can look at the show and think, oh yeah, I could probably have a go at that. But the professional guys would probably say, yeah, he's doing it.
He comes over every day and he sets himself a target every day to what he's got to accomplish in the day.
Moving around to the back, all this out, the guards were pretty good. Little bit of rust on the bottom, you might be able to see there where we've had to replace the very bottom pieces of a short piece there on the sides, so we've popped those in. Prior to proof coating it, I seam sealed all these things that would not necessarily be done at the factory. So all these have been seam sealed up and sealed up. And as a very young chap, I did work for a little while at Pagewood in Sydney for General Motors, and one of the jobs just out of the blue on the line I was working on, a car came past and they came and said, "Oh, do you know how to use an oxy? This one's been missed and it's got to have a 4-speed." So I actually got the job to cut the hole in that particular car. That was probably back in about 1969, I think, when they were doing HGs. I've actually sprayed some Monza green on here. I did that, and I've done the inner of the roof where it won't be seen down the track, because most of my mates keep coming around here and they keep saying, "Rob, what colour's going to be? What colour's going to be?" I got a bit sick of that, so I thought, let's spray some Monza green on there so they know what colour it is. So fairly soon now, it'll come off the rotisserie and we'll have some body work to do. And then when we can get that completed, we'll send it off to a booth to be painted. The car is tagged as Monza green, so naturally it'll go back as Monza green with the gold stripes. I'm sort of one of these guys that like things to look pretty standard, so it'll go with, it did come with some mag wheels that were, I think, factory option 52 at the time, but I want to put standard 5-slot wheels with the hubcaps on it, because that's sort of what I like to do. And then, yeah, we look forward to having this car back on its wheels and going at some point in the future. And I might just mention, Fletch, about rotisseries. I mean, obviously the guys that have got one and used one, they know all about it, but they're the big guys that wouldn't know too much about it. And look, they're so simple once you've got them set up. And I've had this turned 5 or 6 different times now. I mean, if we're working on the bottom and you want it there, well, we spin it this way and then you can just unlock your locks here, turn it around and work it on the opposite side, or we might put it back a bit later to show you what it looks like when it's the proper way up, just to show you some idea. But yeah, I mean, not everybody's worked with one and not everybody's familiar with it. So, you know, like I said, the guys that have one and use it, and the full-on professional guys, obviously they'll probably laugh because they go, yep, pretty straightforward, but yeah, that's, but look, to try and do a job like this without, you just can't, in my opinion, do it and be successful without it. I mean, so I guess it's like any trade, you need the tools. So we'll just lock this pin up in that position. Easy as that. And then if we wanted to do some work on the car, say we were fitting doors or something like that, well, that's the perfect spot for it to do that. And depends on what area you're working on, we can spin it and it just makes the job so much easier. The machinery that you might see in the background around here is pretty much left over from when I was commercially building farm equipment. We've got a pan brake, we've got a guillotine, we've got a small lathe, we've got a radial arm drill, we've got a bandsaw, several different welders, pipe benders, and all your normal tools that you'd expect to find. And then since I've been sort of doing my restoration type work, so we've ventured into having tools that suit that. Like you can see, they've got the rotisserie, and we're pretty much set up here. There's not a great deal that we would need that haven't got, to be honest. Restoration to me, and I've been doing it for quite a number of years. I had a big gap between the last car that I've done and this one here, but I guess you could almost describe me as being obsessive. From the minute the car got here, everything else has taken second place, the gardens, the house, and all sorts of things. Yeah, look, I'm pretty obsessive. As the best of my energy will let me do it, I'm pretty much over here every day doing something, and I'm very impatient.
I'm really happy that he's got the XYGT project. He said it's going to take 2 years to do it, but I reckon because he's worked so hard every day on it, it'll probably only take 18 months.
Well, I guess too, you got to say that most guys say the wife's got to come first, but oh gee, I think the wife comes second.
I think I'm second place now. the GT's number one. It means to me that it's given Robert a project to work on, because he's the type of person, he's got to have things to do ahead of time, a project. He gets bored, he can't stand being in the house watching TV with me. Gets really bored watching a movie and he goes to bed.
I've done all up now, I think 6 70 series Holden restorations. Most of them for myself and a couple for friends. And look, you get so used to the wiring colour codes, where the bolts fit. You see a bolt laying on the ground and you think, oh yeah, I've forgotten that one. That one comes from the boot, this one comes from there. But then I got onto this Ford and everything was new, and I thought, oh gee, I better start taking some photos of this. I won't remember where this goes. But yeah, quite a lot of differences. Like one of the big ones, I'm thinking, oh yeah, you can pull the front end off when you want to put it in a trailer to take it away, but the front ends don't come off 70 model Falcons like they do on a Holden. And they don't have inner guards. When I pulled it to bits and I'm searching for my parts, I thought, what have I done with the inner guards? And then I thought, hang on a minute, the Ford didn't have one.
At Shannons, we insure for an agreed value because we get what your investment is really worth. Get cover from Shannons, Australia's original insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 or jump online.
Your story began in 1971. It's part of an endless tapestry that tells the story of our nation. It connects innovators to artisans, forests to houses, from the largest of operations to the smallest of outcomes. It's heritage. It's a legacy.
So here we are, Rob, at the heart of the nerve centre, 351 Cleveland, 4V. How nice does this look?
Well, that's iconic motor really, isn't it? I mean, for the era that they were. And again, I keep saying I'm originally a Holden guy, so it's not something I know a real lot about, but we always revered the 351 Cleveland.
There's just something about a Clevo when you look at them, whether it's in between the spring towers, in the car or out on a stand, they just look magnificent, don't they?
And then particularly when it's in a GT with a shaker.
Well, there you go.
Where would you get better than watching that vibration of the shaker going down the road?
I know, they're very iconic, known for that. Now, in terms of where you're up to, it's obviously it's been rebuilt. When did that happen?
Bit of background with the car, and I don't know a real lot about it, but it came across from Perth. It was sold new in December 1970 at Linus Ford in Perth. It must have spent time down in Bunbury because this engine, whoever had found this car and started to do work on it prior to me owning it, had this motor done up down in Bunbury at an engine reconditioning company. It was supplied with all the receipts of everything they've done, so it's been fully reconditioned. Why, I don't know, and even on the dock at work it says customer to paint, so when I got it, it wasn't painted. So basically I've removed it from the car and painted it in its proper colours and put it on the stand.
Here we are.
So here we are.
What are we looking at here, Rob, 650?
Well, I'm led to believe they came out from the factory with a 650. I think it was the Hoeys that might have had the bigger one.
And Rob, what a score with your 4V heads designated the top corner there of each head. You see number 4, the front and rear, 4V Cleveland heads on here as well. You've got yourself an incredible engine here.
Well, really, Fletch, I consider that, given that you're trying to pick up a project 55 years down the track, and then to be able to come across an XYGT with matching numbers. The shell is as straight as a die. Once we pulled it to pieces, there was no sign of that it had ever been in any sort of an accident. Radiator shroud still got its JG33 number stamped into it. Everything's matching up.
And back to the shot on your phone, when you first got the car, it can be as rough as it likes. As you say, matching numbers, 4V Cleveland. It's a score. It's a massive. It's a score of the decade for you.
Had it have not had the matching numbers, I wouldn't have purchased it.
Well,
because as it was, I was probably thinking I paid too much for it anyway.
Well, you would have purchased it, but paid a lot less.
But finished I will have something that I can at least say it's the real deal.
Of course. I just love it how period correct the thing is. And the carburettor looks magnificent sitting up on top there as well. Love the colour. It's just ready to it's ready to drop in the hole, isn't it?
It is. That's the whole idea, is that can't wait actually till it's sitting in between the towers.
It will look amazing. It really will.
He doesn't sleep much, and he usually plans all his day in his brain when he's not sleeping, and he doesn't go to sleep till 2 a.m. in the morning sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning. Then he gets up and he goes out to the shed, and I can't believe the stuff that he does. He's a man of many talents. Ladies, back your husband. It doesn't matter whether you get displaced from the number one position in his life, because Robert and I have been married 53 years, and he's absolute. I wouldn't swap him for the world. He can put his slippers under my bed any time he likes.
I'm storing these parts here temporarily till they go back on, but these are all parts that have come off the vehicle. And as I said previously, there was a lot of surface rust on everything basically, but I'm addicted to YouTube, and I'd seen on YouTube where you could clean up rust with electrolysis, and I gave that a go, and honestly it worked a treat. So everything you see here has basically been done with electrolysis and then cleaned up with a wire brush prior to painting. So I'll have all this pretty much ready. Anything that's not painted black is pretty much will end up the colour of the car. A couple of new pieces here. The rear springs here, they were pretty badly rusted, but once I did them with the electrolysis and wire brush, they come up looking a coat of paint, they look like new.
Another exciting stage to be at, Rob, seeing all your parts lined up here. Some ready for paint, some have already been painted. Don't they look amazing?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to when the car's at a stage where I'm actually fitting them back onto the car.
Oh yeah. With the extent that you're going to, it will be just like a brand new car.
That's the aim, exactly, yeah.
So Rob, I want to thank you for your hospitality. Caught up here in 2023, we featured the fantastic Holdens behind us, and I just think it's fantastic that you're given the Ford a go, and not just a Ford, but a matching numbers original GT XY. It's going to be a very special car when it's completed, mate. It's a real credit so far to you.
Well, thank you very much, Fletch, and it's always a pleasure to have you come here and feature the cars, because it is a passion for us, and I guess the guys that do it know exactly how I feel, because they'd be the same. So anytime you want to pop by here, you're more than welcome.
Thanks,
Love
Rob.
your company.
This is what Classic Restos stands for. It stands for the preservation of our vehicles. It stands for vehicles that are being restored, and this excites me when I see this, because I love seeing the parts, and this car is going to live again. That's the other thing too. We don't spring out of bed every morning and think about this stuff, but when you do think about it, that's extra special. To think that this car may have just possibly never ran again, or no one did anything with it, but instead, look what's happened.
Well, it apparently did set to 30 years, so I guess until whoever dragged it out and then me purchasing it. Now, as you say, it will live again, and really it's a bit like they say, we're sort of only custodians of them, so to bring them back to life. And then my sons are both very keen on the old cars. They've grown up with me doing it, so they'll live on with them as well, and they appreciate them and know how to take care of them.
See you again when it's back on the road.
Mate, look forward to it.
Good on you, Rob. Okay, Rob, that time of the day, time is up. Mate, I want to thank you so much. We caught up in 2023. We featured the wonderful Holdens behind us here, and it's just fantastic to return to Griffith. If you want to plan yourself a road trip, try and put Griffith on the map. It's a great town to come and visit. And again, mate, thank you very much for your hospitality, Rob.
It's always a pleasure to have you, Fletch. We love having you, and anytime you're here, feel free to drop in.
Good on you, mate. Now keep in touch with me regarding the Falcon, because we're going to have to see this on the road, right?
Look forward to that too.
Good on you. Okay, well, until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch.
And I'm Rob.
Thanks for watching. Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons. Sign up to become a member of the Shannons Club. Kenworth Trucks Australia. Dasmac, shipping your classic car from the world to your doorstep. And the Intershed.